It's like a prince on a white horse.
I know.
That's right.
In town, and they're rerouting people down our road, and it's miserable because usually we are totally quiet out here. But yeah, I got Blanco shortly after my last surgery, and my neurosurgeon actually was the one that told me Tennessee walking horses are the breed for you because they're smooth. They don't trot, they walk.
They walk.
They walk. It's a 4-beat gait rather than a 2-beat trot, so you stay smooth on the saddle.
So the breed is Tennessee walking?
He is a Tennessee walking horse. Tennessee walkers were developed back in the late 1700s. I don't know my date exactly.
Right.
And they were actually created, it's like the American saddlebred. That's a true American breed of horse. Tennessee walking horses are also another true American breed of horse. The landowners in Tennessee wanted to have a smooth, attractive horse to ride to church on Sundays, and also they wanted to be able to ride through their fields and their plantations and look and oversee their crops on a well-mannered, smooth horse. Tennessee walking horses have a 4-beat gait, and horses that trot, it is a 2-beat vertical gait. They're lifting their legs up where you feel the bounce. That's a trot. And Tennessee walking horses move laterally. So they're out in front of themselves. So they're moving like this, and it's truly smooth. You don't bounce. They do not trot. They're all very mild-mannered, easy to get along with. You're not going to be at a rodeo when you ride these horses. They're not, they're easier horses to get along with. And I enjoy the breed. I love them. They're so, like I said, I had a brain injury in that car accident, and I had to relearn. I couldn't add and subtract or tell time. I couldn't tie my shoes. I just couldn't tell my hands how to do it. And even though I wasn't paralyzed, I couldn't walk right because I had real bad vertigo. I would fall, and I sort of walk like a robot. And he helped me learn how to walk. I mean, I would sort of, my brain would forget that I didn't know what I was supposed to be able to do. And he helped me. And if I would fall down, he would just wait for me to pull on something to get up. I know. Good boy. The house was built in 1878, and the barn was built, I think, around the same year. It's a cool old barn, and it's got the cinder blocks there. It stays cool in the summer and nice and warm in the winter. It's so funny. We never knew and there's not lights over here, but that is the wheel. The guy that came out here.
Yeah.
That wheel was on the wagon that the people that carried the people here when they built this house, and it was around 1875 that
Wow.
He said they started their trip. Have you guys ever seen fireflies?
Firefly. Yeah. Sličky.
Ah.
Yeah, fireflies.
Once the sun, lightning bugs, yeah. As soon as the sun starts going down, we have millions of them.
Wow.
I mean, seriously, it looks like a light show right now this time of year. It's
I wanna see
beautiful.
that.
We'll see.
Danny, want to show us your shop?
Yeah, this is my shop, and I used to be a farrier, which was a blacksmith who puts horseshoes on horses' feet, and very taxing on the body, and my body kind of got broken down to where I couldn't do that anymore, so I started making knives, and that's what I do in here. This is what we call layered Damascus steel, and what this is 2 different types of steel with different carbon contents, and I've alternated it. So what I've made this out of is 1084 high carbon and 15N20, and the 15N20 has nickel in it, has 2% nickel. So when I forge weld this together and I draw it out, it's going to get to be about 17 or 18 inches long. Well, when I cut that in 4 pieces and restack it, then I'll have 60 layers. And you can draw it out again. And if I cut it in 4, then I'll have 240 layers. So the more layers you get, the more dramatic the pattern is. And the 2 different types of steels react differently to the acid. The nickel that's in the 15N20 leaves it really light, or a silvery color like you would normally see a knife.
Okay.
And then the 1084 or whatever the black steel is what we call it, or the higher carbon steel, etches really black, and it stays black, so you get that black and silver. But that's 135 layers of what we call raindrop Damascus. The nickel in the 15N20 resists the acid, so it doesn't get dark. It stays,
okay.
it stays the silver.
But when exposed to acid, you get different.
Right,
different
exactly.
colors and all.
I never really made knives that much until I quit shoeing horses, and then I needed a way to make money, make a living.
His
She
challenge.
said, "Hey, you want to ride him?" I said, "Yeah, I'll ride him." She loosened the,
I
the
did
strap
not. You're
up, the cinch
lying.
strap,
That is such a lie.
and I climbed on. When I put my weight on here, this whole saddle with me on it was
He is
slipped
making
down, and I
that
was
up.
hanging
I had
upside
been
down.
riding him.
And he looked down at me like, "What are you doing, you idiot?"
And I saw him take the saddle horn and like try to straighten up the saddle. And instead of straightening up the saddle went all the way underneath his belly. And Dan ended up sitting right here, and Blanco went like this. Like, what? I didn't do that. You're laying on the ground, but I didn't put you there. This is the cinch that tightens the girth. This is called the girth. And a lot of horses will kind of blow out their stomach. They'll make their stomachs bigger when you saddle them, and that's why you need to go back and tighten it a couple times, because they'll make it loose. And so that's why I checked it. And Blanco is the king of puffing out his stomach, and then the saddle is loose when you get on it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, is probably what he did that one day. And the knot that I tie is actually called a Texas T. That's the knot that you tie on this.
This one. Okay.
But that's what it's called. And honestly, I didn't even ride Western for a long time. I only rode English. You can see how I don't bounce, and he's still covering some ground.
Yeah.
That's what I mean when he walks. I'm going to be starting my YouTube channel and talking about how Blanco kind of helped me. And if you guys had been here a couple weeks ago, we were videoing for that. And he actually carries the flag. And so they videoed me out in the field, and I was carrying the flag and everything.
Wow.
And I've had him for 20 years. And I'll be honest with you, it's almost like he can read my mind when I tell him what to do, because I don't even think about what I'm doing. We just kind of do it together. A lot of people that ride horses and stuff, they'll say, oh, horses can smell fear. Horses do not smell fear. When horses were wild, they were the prey. Other animals ate them because they just grazed on the grass. And so they still have those sensitivities, and they look at the person riding them as the leader of their herd. And if you're a human and you're up here and you're nervous, that horse is not trying to hurt you, but they're thinking, if they're nervous, I should be nervous because something might be trying to get us. And that's usually when people get into trouble, because it'll be all tight and tense, and that horse will feel that, and that horse will start going faster, and then the person kind of loses their mind and doesn't hold on to the reins, and then the horse goes off. Obviously, he won't. All you need to do is kind of put your heels down.
Okay.
Okay, grab the reins, because that's your steering wheel.
Okay.
You're not bouncing out of the saddle, are you?
No.
Okay.
For now, I'm good.
Okay. Does it feel fast?
A little bit, I guess.
Okay, say whoa. Pull back on the reins and say whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You just have to say it once. He actually is in love with Blanco.
Oh.
And they have a big thing going on. And he likes to get out there, and you know how cats will rub on your leg? He goes in between his legs, like that.
Oh.
But he is the friendliest little cat, unless you are a squirrel or a mouse
Really?
or a rabbit. He's a straight up killer if you're one of those.
You don't see a lot of cats in the U.S.
Maybe it's because you got a lot of wild animals.
Maybe that's why.
Well, in Blanco, if you're in rural areas, people have cats in their barns all the time. Now, Simon is an indoor-outdoor cat, and I don't let him outside after dark because there's a lot of coyotes around here and stuff. So I don't want.
That's why.
Yeah, I don't want a predator to get him.
Morning.
Morning, hey.
Morning.
This is Slava and Lena, and this gentleman's name is Joe.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet
This
you.
is Joe.
And you can smell his wonderful hay.
Oh yeah, I can smell that.
Okay,
So how long is it going to last you?
this hay, it'll
About-
last us about 6 or 8 weeks.
6 or 8 weeks.
Couple months.
Yeah. This particular hay is like heavy on the horses.
Well, my cows are spoiled and
Do you feed it
they
to your
like candy.
cows?
So, I try not to, but because I usually, first cutting or rained on stuff.
Yeah.
But
You're the man.
yeah, they get this
right.
and they don't want to eat that. They don't want to eat nothing.
Would you get our hay falling off on camera?
No, we didn't.
That was kind of funny.
So you lost one.
Yeah, I don't know why. Plants.
Get us going this morning.
Thank you, Kim.
That's right. Thanks so much.
I'm gonna
Are you gonna make a horseshoe for me?
Yeah, I'll make a horseshoe for you.
go out there, so I'll clean it out.
Oh, yeah.
You can use coal or coke or charcoal or the only reason I use coke is because it gets your stock up to the heat faster than anything else. Basically. Now I'm going to find my center mark and I'm going to cool it off. Just the other sides of that. This is a hammer, my favorite hammer gun.
Not this one.
Yeah, that's it. Then I'm going to find my center punch and come over here and I'm going to break the toe of the center. What we call the toe bend of a horseshoe. This is basically the first process. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to roll these edges down and meet in the middle. Now we'll put it back in there and turn this branch and punch it, and then we'll have a horseshoe already.
What's the temperature down there?
Probably 2600 there. If I get it going, you can easily approach 3000. Now I'm going to make the second branch of our shoe. And the whole shoe is made in your tongue hand. So if you watch my hammer, it's coming down in the same spot. But the branch is turning, and that's because I'm rolling my hand downward. In a downward position. That's a toe clip. And see, what happens is you set this at the angle of the foot and you burn that back in the foot, so when you touch that, it's completely smooth. It's set up in the foot, so you don't even know it's there. Here you go!
Oh, thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. Let me just...
Where's the stamp? Oh, there's two stamps.
What do you think?
Like in another month or two, you'll see stands in front of people's houses and they'll have their vegetables from their garden and then they'll just have a box sitting out and people will come and they're just leave money, and that's how honest everybody is here because they'll buy the vegetables, leave the money in the box, and that's
We saw that in Georgia.
That's really cool.
You can't get much safer than where we live right here.
Right.
I can't stand that.
Really nice, quiet little town.
Where the water is to the fish are.
This town was, this is a very safe town, but it was uprooted about 3 years ago. Two girls were walking like one of these trails down here, and somebody killed them.
Wow.
And they've never found the guy. And it's made like America's Most Wanted and all that stuff.
Because that's just never something that happens here.
Because it's literally like the first murder that ever happened in this town.
Maniac. He might have been from out of town.
That's what everybody's thinking.
Oh yeah, came in and then left. But this is very typical of a small town Indiana town square, where you've got the courthouse kind of in the middle here, and you've got all these little shops around.
There's a pub right
Yeah,
there.
All right.
I said that.
Oh, wow.
And I'll be right back with yours.
Okay. What'd you guys get?
I got a hamburger, and he got a Reuben, and we're going to share our fries.
Red tenderloin right here,
Okay.
grilled chicken, and the fries. Alrighty, ketchup and mustard. You guys want any mayonnaise or ranch or anything?
Probably ranch.
Ranch? Okay.
This is pork tenderloin. They're specifically famous in Midwest. And it's also very huge. I'm about to try this pork tenderloin. It's enough to feed 3 people.
It's fun because they have all kinds of cool little shops around. I love to see that kind of stuff.
What they sell?
Just about anything. There's dress shops and thrift shops and antique shop so you can see the antiques that were for the week.
We're in a small town of Delphi in Indiana, and this is my first time in Indiana. Courthouse. That's what you normally see, a courthouse, and we gotta be a statue in front of it. There's a statue.
Make some friends. And he told us that he played with baseball.
Yes, he will. If you get over here, he'll play with your baseball cap. Say hi.
Hello.
There we go. There.
Oh, he's
All
so
right.
cute.
Oh, and he can't even see. Yeah, he doesn't care.
So trendy.
You're so funny.
It's sitting on his ear.
Yeah, you're so funny. He was born in 2008, so he is he just turned 13 in June.
13. And Blanco, how old is Blanco?
Blanco is going to be 22 in November.
Uh-huh.
Just relax.
Uh-huh.
Just sit here.
Yeah.
And I'm making him go as slow as he possibly can.
To tell him what to do?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's really cool when you ride.
Just sitting up there and not have to worry about all the other stuff. Yeah.
Oh, but I feel really good. I like him.
He's very calm,
Yeah.
and that.
Mama, can you take a photo?
When I was 29 years old and traveling for business, I was in a really serious car accident. I was hit from behind by 2 semi-trucks, and that accident was very, very bad and life-changing. I sustained a brain injury and a brain stem injury, and I'm pinned together from here up. And at that moment, everything in my life changed, because having the brain injury, I had to relearn a lot of things, and I also had to go through a lot of surgeries. And I was feeling very depressed and low, and because I was like, I felt like I had no purpose anymore. I mean, I had been so depressed and unhappy and couldn't leave the house for, months on end, and here something was brought into my life that made me feel hopeful again. All the first 3 years after my accident, nothing helped me recover as much as working with that horse, because I stopped thinking about what was wrong with me, and I was just focusing on how happy I was. And so that certainly gave me motivation to want to try. And then we went on to ride, and I found out that I had a talent for horses. Within 6 months from then, I was actually working with other people's horses.
Wow.
And helping them. So he changed my life, and he saved my life. What I do now is work with a lot of disabled veterans or people who maybe have gone through situations like mine, maybe have a brain injury like me, or where they're pinned together, or emotional issues. And I'm finding that being around the horses helps them to sort of work through their problems. And that's what I'm enjoying with the horses right now, being able to help people learn a little bit about other things and animals, and help them overcome those emotional issues that they have. My husband makes knives, and he's a blacksmith. He does a lot of volunteer work with a veterans organization in Lafayette, which is the town very close to us. And he had a bunch of the disabled veterans out for a shop day, and just trying to teach them skills and work through things. And there was this one particular young man that was kind of standing in the corner, and he wasn't really saying anything or getting involved too much with what was going on inside the shop. And there was just something that I recognized in his face. I mean, I had seen the face in the mirror many times from myself, and I knew that he had something serious that was going on with him. And I just approached him and started talking with him, and I realized really quickly probably why he was so quiet. He had been in a car bombing or Humvee bombing overseas, and all of his teeth were almost gone, and he had not been able to get them fixed yet. And but he did visit with me, and I asked him if he wanted I said, you want to see my horse? You can see him. And he said, I don't know, I might be scared. I've only seen horses in parades before. And I said, you know what, you don't have to touch him or anything. I'll walk him up here, and you know, if you want to say hi, you can. And I just thought it might help him a little bit. And I walked Blanco up there, and he was asking me where to pet him, and he just started petting him, and he was like, he's so quiet, he's so calm, he's so pretty. And all of a sudden, this guy just started telling me his story about what happened to him overseas, and the story was horrific. Something that, I mean, I can't even imagine any human being going through. And the guy is standing there petting my horse, and he has tears in his eyes and his face, and he said, I've never told anybody that story. He said, I've never told anybody what happened. He said, I just really don't know why I told you all of those things. And then he just wanted to get more involved with Blanco. He said, can I walk him out to the round pen? Can I help you feed him? And I saw very quickly that Blanco could really help people and help them heal. And that particular day really made my mind up that that's what I wanted to be able to do. That was sort of my destiny. Maybe that's why I went through everything I went through, is to be able to help other people figure this whole situation out. Because when you have a brain injury, doctors just really don't help you. They don't know how to help you, and it's a lot to figure out. And so that's what we're trying to do now, is to help people like that.
That's really exciting.
And yeah, out here in the setting of the country setting and stuff, it's fun because people can get away from the city and sort of find some peace and quiet and just enjoy being around all the nature.
It's true.
And it's just 2 hours drive from Chicago, and people can come here and learn how to ride horses.
Yes, and I'm hoping as possibly time goes by and maybe people get to see me, you know, with some of my videos that I post and see what I'm trying to do. Maybe then even word can pick up and we're able to work with other people and maybe even other people who already have horses that, you know, are good with other people. Maybe they could also learn to share their horse a little bit with people who need that peace and quiet, because the horses, I mean, there's a saying, there's nothing better for the inside of a human being than the outside of a horse. After I bought him, I was reading through the names. His grandfather, the horse, is named the Pusher. And then the horse he's out of was called Drug Dealer. So I figured out really quick that the Pusher also meant drug dealer. Yeah. And so I'm like, Blanco, you've got just all these drug lords in your history here, bud. You know, we're gonna have to change this. But yeah, I was reading, when I read his lineage, I had to laugh. But his dad was a world grand champion horse, and then his grandfather the same way. And whenever I got him, the vet told me, now when you breed him and he starts having babies, I don't want you to expect that he's ever going to have any babies that look like him. None of them are going to look like him. And he has about 15 babies that look exactly like him. And all over the United States. And actually I found out about a couple of years ago, one of the first horses that he ever sired is in Dubai. And so Dubai has walking horses because they have her over there. And she looks just like him as well. Honestly, I can say that if I had not found him and discovered horses, I don't know what I would have ended up doing, because there is nothing worse for a human being than to feel like you have no purpose. And that's where I was. And having a brain injury changes a person in almost every way. And, you know, my family was really sad too when this happened. And even though they didn't mean to make me feel worse, they just kept saying, I miss the old Kim. I wish you could be the Kim that I knew. And it was really hard for me because I didn't know how to be that person. And I can honestly say that being with this horse And learning how to do so many things with him helped me find the person that I am today. And had somebody told the 29-year-old Kim 22 years ago that this is what my life would be today, I don't think I would have even believed them that I could have gotten to a point where I have this much joy in life and be able to share so much with other people. And I tell everybody there's no such thing as being completely broken. And if you're not cracked a little bit, you can't let the light in. And so that's what I tell people. If, you know, we have a few cracks, that's okay. That's how we let the light inside our soul.
That's a good way to say it.
It's like a prince on a white horse.
I know.
That's right.
You got a prince and you got a white horse. It's a Tennessee walking horse.
You're doing so good. I'm so impressed.
He's doing good. I'm just sitting here. I'm going to Chicago now. It's a long ride.
That's right. Okay, pull back a little. There we go.
This buddy is jealous. He wants to ride.
You mentioned you have an order for a sword.
I do have an order for a sword. And it's basically going to be a collector's piece. I mean, what are you going? I mean,
The sword is like a huge knife, basically.
Yeah, this one's going to be, I believe this is an English Windsor of some type, and it is literally about 6 foot long.
Wow.
It's going to be used to be displayed in a law office. So there's going to be a box and stuff that he has made for it that he can kind of show off to his friends.
How can people look at your products? And possibly
I have
buy
a
them?
Facebook page.
Okay.
Lizard King Forge. Yeah, if anybody wants to order a knife, I'd be more than happy to listen to them. If they want to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, get to me through you or whatever that, you know, I appreciate it. Support small businesses.
Have you always pictured yourself living in the country?
Yes. When I turned about 11 years old, I decided the country was the place for me. I grew up in a city, and then we moved out to the country, and I knew right then and there I wanted to live in the country the rest of my life.
I had lived in the country and I actually love living in the country, but initially I told Dan I don't want to live so far away where I can't get Chinese food delivered to us. But now we can't even get pizzas delivered, and you know what? It's not even a comparison. When you can look up at night and actually see all the stars, that makes it for me, because it's just peaceful and quiet and just you're out there with nature. I love it. I always want to live out in the country. I don't want to live in a big city where everybody's on top of each other ever again. But you've been riding around here, right?